Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The whole country needs to say there are some things that are just absolutely unacceptable. And I'm a believer that if people of all stripes, and not just Republicans, independents, Democrats, preachers as well, begin to say this is not our country, because we're a Jewish and Christian tradition in America, Judeo-Christianity, and other religions, they basically have the same message. And the fact is, we are our brothers and sisters' keepers, we are brothers and sisters, and we are to love our neighbors as we want them to love us.
What if we don't get along with our brother and sister? It's always a possibility, right? Very interesting, all this fallout over the last couple days. The more that I watch, the more that I realize, if you watch the movie Lord of the Rings, there's a ring. And there's this creepy little golem. My precious. Everybody's willing to do anything to get my precious. And that's the way you need to look at politics. Both sides are willing to do anything. I think what Trump tweeted out the other day was asinine and ridiculous. He should have known better. The fact that the Republicans in a lot of ways have sold their soul, conservatives, because they look at the alternative and say, better the devil you do and the devil you don't. And then you've got the other side who's chasing the precious in a different way, which is we're willing to give you everything you've ever dreamed of. We're willing to make you guys citizens if we possibly can. You just have to give us the power. And it's a sad, sad, sad situation. You could come out and say, look, Trump's my president. He's my brother. What he said was ridiculous. It was asinine, and I don't like it. There's no place for it. There's no place for it. You don't hate Trump. You're not saying that you're not part of the team. But that's where we are in this tribal world now. Any time that you come out and you say something, it's seen as you're anti this or you go against. And everybody's afraid of some sort of backlash on Twitter. You know how you get around that? Just don't check Twitter. There you go. I spoke out today. I think it's ridiculous what he said. I absolutely do. Is he a racist? I don't know his heart. Do you? Do you know his heart? Do you know any of these people's hearts? No. What I do know, though, is their want and desire for power. They will do anything to get it. They're willing to sell their souls because they want a win. They want their team to control the ring.
And this rhetoric, this anger, this division violates that basic covenant that America was founded upon. Mm-hmm. And that's what's so bad. So I think for Republicans to say, well, I'm kind of worried about a primary and all that stuff. If you don't speak out when you're in, I can tell you when you're out, which is not going to be a long time away for all of these people. Because when you're out, no one will call you and no one will take your calls. That's the way it is. And all you have is to look back and think about your legacy. And if you were silent on things that are totally outrageous, you will regret it and you will lose a piece of yourself.
Yeah, because what you see too often than not is people leave. They're no longer under the spell of the power, and they leave, and then you get the truth, right? Boehner left, and he basically talked about what a giant crap show D.C. is and how nothing could get done, right? Paul Ryan's got a new book out. It's kind of a lot about that with Trump, the frustration level that's there. Because you have to, the minute you're in that area, you're sucked in by that power. And it's about protecting your own, protecting your team. What Trump tweeted was ridiculous. Could he have said something different? Absolutely. Is there even some merit into what he said about the fact that I look at Ilhan Omar like I look at somebody who is, every person has dated somebody like this? Right? Which is, I want to change you. I want to change everything about you, except for a few things. Right? You could be a little bit thinner. We could do your hair differently. I don't like this thing over here. I don't like that thing over here. You can be more like this. You can be more like that. I'm trying to build the perfect thing. Frustrating. But the want for power is the thing. And there's a want for power here. And both sides do it. And they're willing to sell their souls and destroy their parties and the belief that people have in their parties over this. And it's not just Trump. This happened long before Trump. This happened long before Obama, right? It's been going on for a while. The politics of it all are so ridiculous, and the tribalism is so ridiculous. And this thirst for power and for ultimate control is so massive that they're willing to do anything to get it. And I think people, the more that we wise up, the more that we have an understanding of what's going on, the better we can start taking this and going, okay, I'm getting it now. I'm starting to see it now. I'm starting to see where this is going. Let's see what we can do from here and get some people in there that actually care, that actually want to do the right thing. Reagan talked about the fact that, hey, we can all move forward as long as nobody really cares about who gets the credit. It's not about that anymore. It's about who gets the credit, whose team won, who has the power. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Speaking of power, yes, the battle of what's going on at the immigration side of things is going on. Today, a new law, or a new rule, if you will, is going into effect.
The new rule basically tells immigrants coming from Central America that they must seek asylum in at least one country as they travel north before they can apply for asylum here in the U.S. Expect another legal fight over this one.
Yeah. And because you think about this, you're coming from there, they call that the triangle, or the Northern Triangle. They're coming from Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador. And I read a great article today, an opinion piece in the New York Times, in the USA Today, about the fact that maybe we need a new Marshall Plan. If you don't know what the Marshall Plan was, after World War II, Europe was broke and broken. And we needed to figure out a way to make sure that people got the food they needed, that they got the things that we needed to rebuild it in such a way that we could stem off any of the craziness that came out of World War I. And that maybe, just maybe, we need a Marshall Plan for these three countries to help them in a way where they feel like they've got actual help. Now, is that nation building? That's the question I have. Is that nation? It feels a little nation building. But at the same time, us taking more control over where the money goes, if we were to do something like that, I've got no problem with that. But we've used something. So, you know, think about this. We've got this asylum law. The asylum law, in theory, was a great idea. In theory. But once people learned, quote unquote, the loophole, they decided, well, we can use this to our advantage. And the road to hell is what? Paved with good intentions. And that's essentially what's gone on.
We want to make sure we protect those who truly need it. But this is a system that has created a loophole.
Yeah. And people took advantage of that. Right? And let's just talk about this. This is very interesting. This whole loophole thing when it comes to how this thing works. This is in the Wall Street Journal. So this is how it works, right? You come here. There's two ways to come here. You cross the port. And the port of entry, by the way, is not you show up today and everything's fine. Sometimes you have to wait months because they have metering on who's allowed to come in here. Or you pass between the ports of entry. When crossing the port, you're going to stay in custody, if you will, while they research everything, much shorter period of time. That's 72 hours. That's not breaking the law. When you come between the ports, if you will, that's when the law is broken, and that's weeks and months inside of facilities. Right? So, now, sometimes while they, at the asylum side of things, when you cross through the port, you could be sent back to Mexico, and you have to wait there. Otherwise, if you cross through it, you're going to be detained by ICE, and you're going to spend up to 20 days as a group together, and then that's when the separation comes. That's a law. It's nothing to do with Trump. Then from there, you're sent to a shelter or charity where eventually you're going to go out to do wherever your end goal is to get to. Family, to friends, wherever that is. Now the court side comes in, and this is what's interesting. I want you guys to soak this up. So you're going to get your day in court. Currently, as of now, we're almost 1 million cases behind. That's the backlog. So before you even get your day in court, it is going to be years. There will be multiple hearings that will follow. Then get ready for this. Soak this up. So maybe you've been here for 36 months. Then you've had your hearing. Now the process begins. And again, more often than not, it is multiple hearings. Your final hearing, though, can take years on top of that. The average wait time, 727 days for your last hearing from your first hearing. 1,100 days in San Antonio, 1,000 days in California. Think about that. You could be here 5+ years before you even are rendered a decision. Soak that up on the broken system that we have now. You can double and triple the judges. The backlog is still so massive. It's a broken system that needs to be fixed, and nobody wants to fix it because the political points are too big to waste. And they're not going to. Not at this point in time. Whether you hate the messenger and Trump, the message itself is we've got a broken system and it needs to get fixed. If it comes from Obama or Kasich, you might take it a little bit differently. But the reality is it is an absolute broken system. And when you allow people to come here and use your laws, our laws that we have put on with good intention against us, and again, we did it with good intention, and realize that you're looking at 5 to 7 years that somebody may be established here. That is not a winning recipe right there for anybody. It's not fair to the people who are trying to do something, and they've come here, they've applied for asylum, and they build a life here, and then we're going to throw them out. They have kids in the whole 9 yards. It's not fair that the way that people pander to them and play them and use them as a political football on both sides of the aisle. And it's not fair to people who've done it right and to people here, taxpayers and citizens and residents, who are frustrated by the broken system. Got to do better. And we're not. We are absolutely not doing better, and nobody wants it. Nobody does. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Do love hearing from every single one of you. Amazon. Second day of Prime, rocking and rolling. Guess what, kids? I got something for you. It is Prime Day. And why don't you get yourself a Blink? Now, I just got an alert on my phone for my big lizard, my big one, Norman. He's about 6 feet long. He's inside of his little pool, and he's swimming around, and I get an alert, and it's hilarious to watch him. Like, I see you, Norman. I see what you're doing. Last night, we put a new Blink camera up in there, and they were very curious about it, so they're climbing up there looking at it. Blink is amazing. You got the indoor-outdoor cameras. You got the XT2 cameras. All of these things are incredible and so cheap right now because it is Prime Day. Get ready for this. Are you ready? You guys soaking this up? 44% off Blink indoor and outdoor camera systems. So cheap. Wire-free, set up in minutes, 2 lithium batteries, going to just run forever. You got the 2-way talk feature. Do not miss out on this. Grab this. You will not be disappointed. You're going to absolutely love every second of this thing. So easy to use. And I'm telling you, just looking at my lizards, it makes me laugh throughout the day because normally in my old studio, I used to have them with me. Now they're far away, but I get to look in there and see what they're doing because sometimes they're up to no good. I'll be honest with you. Blink, thank you for that. You're going to love it. Protect your home, protect your stuff. Blink's the way to do it. Go to Amazon.com, search Blink camera, get up to 44% off. That's Blink camera. Search it right there on Amazon.com. Amazon.com, Blink camera, 44% off. Home security just got easier. Blink is an Amazon company, and it works with Alexa. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show, the only place so far that the Mueller investigation hasn't deep probed for collusion.
Redacted! Redacted!
Stay tuned.
This is Chad Benson.
I urge a unanimous vote and
you.
yield back the balance of my
I was just going to give the General Speaker of the House if she would like to rephrase that comment.
I have cleared my remarks with a parliamentarian before I read them.
So they're voting on a resolution that's non-binding, that serves no purpose other than to say, you are a bad person. You're bad. You're bad. You're evil and you're bad and you're a horrible person. And the other side's like, he's not a bad person. He's a good person. You guys are thinking wrong. And this is what we should be talking about. No, you're bad. No, this is what we should be No, you're bad. Oh, God. And what does it get us, by the way? Curious. So at the end of this vote throughout the day and whether or not they should or shouldn't condemn his remarks or his tweets or his graffiti or his skywriting, at the end of the day, does it get your health insurance any closer to being something manageable? No! It doesn't. I wish there was a yay, nay president and nobody gives a blanket. We got other things to do. If I had time on the floor today, I'd stand up and say, is this what we're doing? I mean, is this what we're doing? You're taking a high school fight and you turn it into something it shouldn't be? You already think he's a racist SOB and you think he's the scum of the earth? The other side thinks that you guys are insane and you're placating to a bunch of people by offering them free stuff and opportunity at citizenship? All the while, the American citizens are looking here going, what are you doing for me? Do you have anything you're going to do for me at all? Because we got to go to work, and we don't get to have a vote on whether or not Jim's a Richard at work. We got stuff to do. Sweet Jesus, this is awful. It frustrates me to no end. Frustrates, and it should frustrate the hell out of you. We're going to vote on something that has nothing to do with anything. Then we may start an impeachment. And if we start an impeachment, it will absolutely go nowhere because Mitch McConnell will shoot it. He will shoot it like a duck that's wounded on the side of the street. And what does that get us, kids? Anything? No. Immigration? Nah, we're not worrying about that. That's tomorrow's news. We can call him a racist tomorrow. Today we're worried about his tweets. Because that's what matters, kids, his tweets. Tweet this. Good God. Best thing that's ever happened to them. Him being a jerk. More stage time for me? Oh, God, what will I wear? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
What the president is doing is we are tired, sick and tired of many people in this country. Forget these four. They represent a dark underbelly in this country of people who are not respecting our troops. We're tired of people not kneeling for the flag out of disrespect. We're tired of some of these women palling around with terrorists. One of them is in pictures with somebody who was responsible for the murder of 3 Israeli soldiers. Where is the press? Stop falling down on the job. Stop being so afraid of and adoring of 4 people who got here a few short months ago.
Now, I will say this. The adoring of is very real. The rest of it is all just meant to be shock value, right? I think the political correctness and the BS and all that stuff is overdone. And I think the way that we're conducting ourselves by walking on eggshells 24/7, afraid of what somebody on Twitter's verse may or may not say is absolutely true. Who does? I mean, you can't even make a joke anymore that people go, oh my God, let me tell you. I mean, somebody's going to come out and go, oh, she said dark underbelly. You know what that means? People of color. Right? Because it's it. Do you guys want dark meat or light meat? Oh, dark meat? I mean, it doesn't matter anymore. It's like we're looking for something all the time. The rest of it's shock value, right? The fact is that there is a certain sense, right? And I'll throw this out there. And if you look at the numbers from people say, well, this poll that came out is white people who are swing voters who are not college educated. And this poll that came out, which, by the way, there's a lot of Democratic voters. A lot of what they lost in the last election, 2016, for president, was that middle-class voter, right? 2-income family, white, union. They didn't go that way. They didn't like their option. So this poll comes out. What do they say? 78% know who Ocasio-Cortez is. About 60% knows who Ilhan Omar is. Ocasio-Cortez favorable ratings, 22. 22. Ilhan Omar, 9. 9. 9. The bubonic plague and the Ebola virus have a better rating. And here's the thing. Their worry is they're taking over the party and they're leading the party away. And I tell you what, you stand pat, because much like Reagan said, that party, the Democratic Party, he didn't leave them. They left him. And I feel that a lot of that is going on. So, yeah, it matters when you have a lot of people who are out there who now look over and say, you know what? The Republicans somewhat sold their soul, and many of them may have sold their soul to keep the power, and behind the scenes they're disgruntled and pissed off and they're angry at themselves, but it was better than that or the other. But there's also a fight going on right now in the Democratic Party, and it's leaving. And these people, here's the thing, the train, the left progressive choo-choo train is leaving the station. And a lot of people they thought were going to be on it isn't getting on it. I have a ticket, but I'm going to pass. I may not like the Trump train, but the reality is I trust the Trump train more than I trust where you take in this party. Because the ideas that you're espousing scare me a lot more than whether or not he pissed you off and angered you in a Twitter tirade. You soak it up because you love it. You love it. I wish you were honest and come forward and say, hell yeah, I love being a celebrity, which is a political celebrity. I love it. Soak it up. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
A lot of us are sick and tired of this country, of America coming last. And sick and tired of the Customs and Border Patrol people, the protection people I was with, who are overwhelmingly Hispanic, by the way. Sick and tired of them being criticized, being doxxed by a bunch of Hollywood D-listers who have nothing else to do but sit on their asses on Twitter all day.
She's got a point there, right? She's got a point. And here's something else she's got to point at. And for all of the crap that Trump does, and you can call him a racist. You believed he was a racist on Saturday. You believed it on Sunday. You believed it last week. So none of this changes anything. Trump stays in the lane that he stays in. I thought it was childish. I thought it was asinine. I thought it was stupid. But like a lot of things, he landed on his feet. Now you got Pelosi defending people that, quite frankly, behind the scenes, I know this for a fact, she's not a fan of. She doesn't like what they're doing to the party. She's not a fan. Because she's been around long enough to get it. She's been around long enough to understand that America's not ready for a lot of these socialist ideas when put into practice. They sound great, right? Eating a 5-pound burrito if you're hungry sounds great. The actual doing of it has repercussions, right?
Why the hell can't we condemn anti-Semitism? Why can't we name Ilhan Omar? They're going to name President Trump today in their resolution. It's politicized and it's sham because they couldn't call out a member of their own who said all about the Benjamins, dual loyalty, some of the most anti-Semitic garbage that we've heard in the House floor ever.
Yeah, and that's very real. Frustrating, though. But both want power so bad. Both want it so bad that they're willing to sell their souls. And each party has given up a certain amount right now. And that's what leaves us right here, this exhausted majority. And we're going to get through this, and we're going to find better politicians, and it's not going to be easy. And as you know this better than anything, it's not going to solve all your problems. None of them ever will. They can make your life a little bit easier by getting out of your way and doing their job. But as we all know, the more they get into your life, usually the more complicated, expensive, and frustrated we get. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. So last week we touched on this guy who's running for governor who didn't want a female reporter with him when he was going to do a ride along in his truck, and they were, unless she had a colleague, a male colleague. And he said, look, I made a promise to my wife, and there's also this sense right now that, you know what, one little thing can finish your career. One little thing in a lot of ways can finish your career. We've seen what it done to several people that turned out later on down the line there wasn't anything there, or people just said, well, even though there's nothing there, there's enough there to make us suspicious of them, so boom, we're going to make the judgment that there is. Right? I never once thought Al Franken should have left. Never once. Right? But come on, Aziz Ansari, really? So people were talking about what he did. It's called they call it the Graham Plan from Billy Graham. Much like what Mike Pence is they don't want to be alone in a room. And this goes back a long time, long before the Me Too movement.
Facebook study found 60% of male managers said that they were uncomfortable mentoring, socializing with or working with women in the workplace. So this isn't just working alone. They don't want to mentor. They don't want to socialize. That's frightening.
It's really unfortunate. I think it's a real bad side effect of the whole Me Too movement.
Yeah. Because while you may trust somebody, right, doesn't mean that you can trust everybody. And that's the worry that people have, is it can be weaponized. And as we know, you weaponize something like that, what it does is it hurts the entire movement, because eventually it will settle and we'll find some normal. I would like to say we'll find some normalcy, but you never know. But when it comes to something like Me Too, as we've all seen over the last and many things, not just Me Too, we've gotten rid of due process. It's immediacy, guilt, and then even if you prove your innocence, it doesn't matter because nobody sticks around long enough to find out the end of the story.
The Me Too movement of the last few years has brought a chorus of voices urging us to believe all women making assault or harassment allegations. When believe all women is the party line, it's only prudent for men to take themselves out of situations where they risk being accused of anything.
Yeah. So why would anybody want that? I have people I mentor. I have interns and people I've mentored, males and females. I'm very careful with both of them because there is a sense. And I've kind of taken this upon myself to mentor some people where I don't have to, but I really like them. And I think they've got careers and I think they've got some stuff in front of them that they can be really good at this. But there's a sense, especially for somebody like me, who for the last 4 or 5 years, I have been in my own situation. I'm now in a station where before I wasn't in a station. I had my own place. The only people around me were animals, right? I had my lizards and I had all that stuff. It's a much different thing. And yeah, there is a worry there of what potentially could happen.
And my concern is that we are allowing the Me Too situation to knock women back decades in terms of equality in the workplace if we allow this kind of general thought pattern to be an excuse for excluding women.
Yeah. And it's going to become that way. No, I don't think so. I don't want to bring somebody. I don't want somebody to travel with me. I don't want any of that. No. And you're seeing men not even wanting to, they're not traveling, they're not socializing, and they're not mentoring. And anybody who's worth their weight in salt when it comes to business and upward mobility will tell you mentoring is maybe the most singular important thing that you will do, and getting mentored. Those things will lead you to your success. And oh my goodness me, that hurts. Who does that hurt? Because there are people out there who are successful, and a majority of them want to be able to pass on their knowledge to men, to women, to non-binary individuals, whatever it is. And at the same time, they feel like, you know what, I'm going to have to go over here. And I'm only going to be able to talk to these people, and I'm only going to be able. And I don't even worry just about women. I worry about a younger generation, because if I'm with my producer and I'm joking around, and for those of you guys don't know, I've got 3 producers. I've got one that's with me. I've got one that's in D.C. and I have one that's in Sacramento. We talk all the time. People could walk by at any given time and somebody could hear something. Next thing you know, so there's a fear there. And that's not a good place to live. Walking on eggshells is not a good place to find yourself. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Do love hearing from you. The most least in stress cities in America. Man, there's some ones on here I'm looking at going, They did Wallet Hub did a big study on this, and it's very interesting. It wasn't just like one of those like kind of throwaway ones. It was really interesting. We'll break that down. Who's number one? You can text the program 323-538-2423. Stress is bad. Sleep is good. That's why MyPillow is the best. What? With the stress. I sleep so well. That's the thing. I tell everybody, like, Chad, people say, come on, how good does it work? I said, try it out. I mean, it works amazing. It works incredible. And it's a small change, right? You don't have to do all like this thing. Oh, I need 12,000 different kinds of beds, and it needs to be. No, you get this, and you just find yourself sleeping in a much better way, and you sleep solid. And that, to me, is the most important thing. I don't care about how long you're in bed. I care about how much solid sleep I get. And MyPillow has changed everything for me. I'm getting a solid 5 to 7 hours every single night. And I made one change. That was it. One change. You can do the same thing. And right now you've got nothing to lose. 60-day money-back guarantee. Nothing to lose. 2 premium pillows, less than $70. They're coming directly at you. Free shipping. It is amazing. Go to MyPillow.com, use the promo code Benson. These 2 premium pillows, you have everything they always have. The 10-year warranty, machine washable and dryable, and now you got a 60-day money-back guarantee, and it's made right here in the U.S. of A. What are you waiting for? Call them, 800-983-4975. Use that code Benson. Or go to MyPillow.com, promo code Benson, 2 premium pillows, less than $70, free shipping, 60-day money-back guarantee. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Check out our Chad Benson Show Facebook page where you can hang out or hang your grievances out to dry. This is Chad Benson.
I am a proud naturalized citizen born in India, a proud patriot, a proud person who belongs in this country. And it's not the first time I have heard go back to your own country, but it is the first time I have heard it coming from the White House.
Shia Pal right there. I'm surprised she was not part of the 4 that rolled out there yesterday. Is what it is. So they've adopted a resolution, and I'll be honest with you. It's good to see somebody get adopted. It is. Because you don't want people to be left behind like, who's going to adopt? Oh. So I don't even know what that means. So House approves resolution condemning Trump. So you're condemned, and there you go. So everybody go home and wait for instructions. They'll let you know exactly how you redeem your condemned check. If you voted for Hillary, you'll get a condemned check. If you voted for Trump and you're defending him, you will be docked a certain amount of pay. So stupid. It's just so asinine. And there's Al Green up there, not the singer. So in love with you. Not him. Who's just, as producer Anthony says, the impeachment man, he is keeping the dream alive. Oh, he really is. Stress, kids, stress. By the way, I'm going to throw something out there. When I went to Europe the first time to play soccer, and the second and the third, you know what I was told? After being kicked, whacked, hacked when I was playing? Well, I was told at Heathrow that I should get back on the plane and go home. And I said no. I don't want to get on the plane. I said that. It's not the same. I know, but I'm just saying. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. All right, here are the 5 least stressed cities in the country. And the way that they do this, and I'll give you the 5 worst, they look at stress across the board. They say it affects more than 100 million people. And so Wallet Hub did this. And they said that they estimate about $300 billion a year is lost at work because of societal and workplace-related stress. So they went to 180 cities across the country, and they used 39 key metrics, which I thought was very interesting. Some of these things are average weekly hours, debt load, to divorce, to suicide rates, and so much more. So the least stressed cities in America, based on these numbers, are Irvine, California, Overland Park, Kansas, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Bismarck, North Dakota, and Fremont, California. The 5 most stressed cities in America: Philadelphia, PA, brotherly love. Work stress rank was number 2. Financial stress was 14, but family stress was 60s because they all yell at each other all day, because it is not, I repeat, it is not full of brotherly love. Baltimore, Maryland, I could see that. Newark, New Jersey, number 3. Cleveland, Ohio, work stress 21st, but financial stress 1, family stress 2, and number 1 was Detroit, Michigan. Work stress was 24, but financial stress was 3, and family stress was 2. Health stress was also 2. There you go. We're stressed out. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The House of Representatives has just concluded a vote on a resolution condemning President Trump's tweets that attacked 4 congresswomen of color, telling them to go back to the countries they came from. The vote was to condemn that tweets. The count 240 to 187. Again, voting in favor of a resolution condemning President Trump's tweets that attacked 4 congresswomen of color, telling them to go back to the countries they came from. The vote again, 240 in favor, 187 opposed.
Wow. God. Wow. Oh. Wow. Like this. I listen to that and I think to myself, you guys are getting stuff done. Right? Doug Collins, what do you say?
There's budget issues looming. There's caps looming. There's debt ceiling looming. And there's still problems at our border that is a crisis. And these need to be fixed. Let's take up those bills.
Yeah. Oh, but no. So this is what happens. So they've condemned him now, right? Like a building. So you're going to wrap him up and say you can't go in there. No. What happens now is nothing. It's non-binding. So you don't get a trophy. Nobody goes home and gets a paycheck. Right? Like if you're paying $1,200 a month for health insurance, your health insurance still $1,200 a month. Right? Like that's everything that went on before this is still there. All that's here is this. This is all that it is. It's glamour. It's the ooh and ah, and it's the people coming up and Nancy Pelosi going, "You're a racist," and oh my goodness, nothing has changed. Right? We're going to raise the debt ceiling. We're going to because we're spending money out of control. Trump, that's on you and your colleagues there. Both sides of the aisle. You love other people's money. Right? You're spending the hell out of it. We've spent the last 24 hours, 48 hours talking about what? 4 women who are like, oh my God, you're not a victim. You're not. Get over yourselves. What he said was asinine and stupid, and it was a dog whistle for a lot of people out there, but the reality is you're not a victim. You're not. Start working on real things. Start working on real things. People care about that. We care about the cost of health care. We care about the fact that for the last 24 days, I've seen you guys at all of these facilities, some of which you've deemed concentration camps, crying, oh God, what is the... All the while, nothing's getting done, right? Nothing real. Because it's more about the pictures and the tears than the actual results. That's just it. It's frustrating. It's so frustrating, and it's enough. I don't care. What did you see what he tweeted? I don't care at this point in time. Nobody cares. Well, Chad, some people, it's like 7% of America's on Twitter, 3% use it. You do the math. And we're talking, come on. Right? People with 8 followers, 12 followers. It's nuts. Enough. How about something real? Trump is a clown. He's a racist. He's all that. You thought all of that long before this. It's ridiculous we're talking about it. I blame him that we're talking about it. And then the spotlight's on them, and, oh, God, they soak it up. My goodness. Nancy and Chuck have nothing on these ladies. They're living the dream. You don't tell me that AOC's not living the dream, that every day she goes somewhere, people are asking her questions. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? What do you think about this? Ah, jeez. How about some real stuff being done? How about we do that? How about we figure out how to start bringing down the cost of health care, finding transparency, and holding these companies, accountable? Oh, that's tough to do because, I've got an agenda, they got an agenda, and they all pay us. So it doesn't really matter if you got an RD. We still take the green. How about getting immigration sorted out? And speaking of immigration, for those of you who don't know, immigration today at least takes a new twist, kind of, sort of, but not really. Because already there is lawsuits flying through the courts about the new asylum rule, which essentially would say that you must apply for asylum in the first country you come to. So if you leave Guatemala and you get to Mexico, Honduras, you must apply for asylum there first. And that new rule went into effect today, kind of, sort of.
The new rule basically tells immigrants coming from Central America that they must seek asylum in at least one country as they travel north before they can apply for asylum here in the U.S. Expect another legal fight over this one.
And it's happening. And so there's that. So in theory, what is supposed to happen is you leave Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, wherever you're coming from. You're coming from Haiti, you're coming from, any African nation, or you're trying to escape somewhere in the Middle East, and you get to Mexico. Let's just say you land in Mexico, or you sneak into Mexico from one of these other countries. The minute you arrive there, you must apply for asylum there first. And if they deny you asylum, then you can try for here. If you don't try for it, they'll send you back immediately. Secondly, if you're human trafficked, you can apply for asylum here. So there's a few things around it. But we've allowed this asylum rule for people to take advantage of it. It wasn't meant to be for everything and everybody. But that is what it's become. And it's frustrating. And I'm going to read you something. This I found very interesting. So this is the strain of the system. This is the Wall Street Journal today. And the strain of the system is, I don't think people really understand how strained our system is. There's 2 ways you can come into this country, all right, as far as asylum seeking and what people are doing. There's the port of entry, and right now they have a metered situation. So it'll be weeks or months before you get to the point where you can go in and apply for asylum. And that's the port of entry. Then there's the between the ports of entry. Those are the people that are sneaking in and or just showing up at the border and giving themselves up, not at a port of entry, but crossing the Rio Grande or wherever like that. And so those people come in and they'll say we're here for asylum. So then they're processed in 2 different ways, right? They're both going to go to Custom and Border Protection facilities. But one, it's about a 72-hour hold, usually less, and you're on your way. That's when you come through the port. The other side of it is what we see now, which is the criminal side of it, which is coming across in a different area that's not a port. And that can be up to weeks. Right? So that's what everybody's upset about. That can be up to weeks. Once you're done with those, right? So there's 3 things that can happen. One, you could be sent back to Mexico, right? And you'll have to wait for a court appearance under the new program. And that's, again, we'll see how that goes. 2, you're going to be detained by ICE, sometimes for up to 20 days. And if that's a family situation, after 20 days, has nothing to do with Trump. By law, kids can't stay. They've got to go. There's the thing that everybody freaks out about. Then from there, if you get through all of that, you're sent to a shelter or charity, and then they arrange for you to travel to your relatives or to friends, or then it's just you get out there and that's the catch and release. Then it comes the time for court. Here's what you guys need to understand. They're going to get their day in court, right? Which is what we promised, and we shouldn't go back on that. We should also enforce it. But let's talk about how stretched they are. All right? So, first, if for some reason the appearance doesn't happen, whether they miss it, their lawyer has a conflict, or the translator doesn't show, the case goes to the back of the line. So people wait years to even get an opportunity, and sometimes they get kicked to the back of the line. Sometimes they just don't show up. Other times, it's just because of conflicts or interests, something of that nature, right? For those of you who want to know, 900,008 cases currently pending in immigration court. That is the backlog. So about 1 million. From there, they'll have multiple hearings. The final hearing and decision can take years. So for waiting years to then getting multiple hearings, then waiting years for the final decision, on average 727 days after that. Some places, like San Antonio, over 1,100 days. It's nuts. It's nuts. But don't worry, because we're going to vote on this because what? Well, it raises money. Every one of those people today that are out there screaming and yelling and on both sides of the aisle and attacking, every one of them attacking each other is sending out an email right now with Trump's face on it and the hatred and the tweet and raising money, or sending out Trump's face draped in a flag saying they're coming after him, socialism is bad, and raising money. Don't give them a penny. Either side. Don't do it. It's a joke. Resolutions pass? What does it mean? Nothing. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Oh, besides all of that,
Donald John Trump, by causing such harm to the society of the United States, is unfit to be president and warrants impeachment, trial, and removal from office.
That right there is Rep. Al Green, and he has introduced impeachment articles.
The form of the resolution is as follows. Impeaching Donald John Trump, President of the United States, of high misdemeanors.
Mitch McConnell's like, it's never going to happen. Just want to let you guys know that, Al Green. It's never going to happen. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Frustration. You know who else is frustrated? WoundedPawProject.org, because they need your help. Because they have this amazing organization. And it is amazing, right? Like for all of this other stuff that's crazy, this noise back there, here's an organization that's amazing and that does something. And they rely on the help of you, me, and many others. Wounded Paw Project goes into kill facilities where dogs are going to be euthanized. They rescue them. They train them. So these are dogs that are rescue dogs. They're trained to be service dogs. And then they recognized what's going on out there with our veterans, first responders, and their family. 20 veterans a day commit suicide. They get these two together, and what it does is changes lives, and it is amazing. But they do need your help. It's simple and easy. Maybe you've got an extra car, RV, truck. You've got it stored somewhere. You don't know what you're going to do with a boat. I don't care if it flies, whatever it is. And you're just like, I'm never going to use this thing. I was going to trade it in. It's not. I don't know what it's worth, but I'd rather get a tax-deductible gift and do something. This is what they will take. They'll even take cash. It's simple and easy. Check everything out for yourself. It is amazing what they're doing, how they're saving a paw to save a life. WoundedPawProject.org, WoundedPawProject.org, or call 844-678-4PAW. That's 844-678-4729, or WoundedPawProject.org. Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
Last year, for the first time ever, Netflix scored the most Emmy nominations, breaking HBO's 17-year streak. Now HBO back on top, led by a record 32 nods for Game of Thrones. HBO has a total of 137 nominations. Netflix in second with 117, nominated for a series including When They See Us. And then far behind in third, we find a broadcast network, NBC. 57 noms for shows including Saturday Night Live and This Is Us.
What did Saturday? Who nominated Saturday Night Live for anything? That's who does that? Who nominates Saturday Night Live for? I don't know. I've seen This Is Us. Nope. Game of Thrones. Nah. No. Just it's. They should have an Emmy. They should have Emmys for going back and looking at reruns and go, you know what? Based on what we've seen, that was really good, and we're going to do a retro Emmy for you. That'd be cool. We should do retro Emmys. They were talking earlier, too, it's topped NYPD Blue or whatever, and I'm like, oh, my God, there's another show I've never seen. I'm just trying to think what show I've watched the most of that's modern, that's in color the entire time, because I watch a lot of Gunsmoke, and that is not in color the entire time. And I was thinking, I watched a lot of House, and that may be it. And I may have watched 50 episodes. So, good. Still no Game of Thrones, man. Still no Game of Thrones. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us if you guys didn't hear. Oh, yeah. A little bit of this and a lot of bit of that.
The form of the resolution is as follows. Impeaching Donald John Trump, President of the United States, of high misdemeanors.
That's Al Green. Can you tell which one's the singer and which one is the one that does not like Donald Trump? Oh, goodness me. So just high misdemeanors, too. Not even like he's got high ones. Like, woo! There's not like regular. Like he didn't finish at medium or start at small. He went straight up to the. So they've condemned his tweets and his comments. The House has, and now nothing's going to happen. So we'll move on with the rest of our lives and hope that we can start to at least get some things done. And this is the other sad thing, because we talk about there's no bipartisanship, and in some ways there is. We just don't know about it because politics has become so show busy that we miss out on the things that do go on. Because I know there's stuff out there that goes on, but it's becoming less and less. When I've talked to both senators and congressmen I know on both sides of the aisle and women, they said they especially people that have been there for any number of years, has said that it's really gotten to the point where it is not like it used to be, where you would find a lot more bipartisanship, even in stuff that doesn't make the news, and that's slowing down. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. James Hogan's his name. His new book's out called, it's a second edition, I'm Right and You're an Idiot. No, that's the name of the book. And it's very interesting. He's an interesting character. Former PR guy. And that's the way we look at the world right now, is my view is the absolute right view, and you are an idiot for not liking my view. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I like to read. Just want to let you guys know that. I think you guys know that, though. and I like having authors and smart people on here. And this book is the second edition. It's called I'm Right and You're an Idiot, and I don't think it really gets any more, explainable than that. I mean, the reality is that's the world we live in, the toxic state of public discord and how to clean it up. Jim Hogan joins us. He's a PR man. He's the author of the book, and this is the second edition because I'm Right and You're an Idiot. You could probably write 1,000 of these, Jim.
I think you could. In fact, I think more and more people are writing about this area.
So what made you, because you're a PR guy, what made you write a book about this? Because this is the perfect time to do it because there is no such thing as public discord anymore. We have an actual debate or conversation. It's just you demonize the other side and run away.
Yeah, well, I ran a big PR company, and so I've always been in the business of helping my clients get the facts out. At least that's the way we saw it. And I just noticed over the years that it was getting more and more impossible. And there seemed to be this kind of, unyielding one-sidedness, and it's like a war in the public square. And it's, hard to get heard. And, I'm in the business of helping people get their message out. And I think social media coming along maybe 20 years ago started to really accelerate it. And so I just became interested in, public conflict and how it gets in the way of people thinking.
We had a gentleman on last week who is he's a big talker, big thinker guy, and he goes out and his whole thing is about wealth disparity, and he's a really good guy, and we have good conversations when he comes on the show. One of the things that's very interesting though, he said, what, data no longer matters. It matters about the story that you tell, and you just talked about the fact that you're trying to get your facts out there. Do facts even matter anymore?
No, I think that's exactly right, that people need to tell stories because people, we think in stories. I mean, that's always been the case. And I don't think facts have ever been as important as some of us would like to have thought they were. I mean, I think now, it's also dangerous, though. Once we start to lose confidence in people who are kind of the arbiters of some of this information, the kind of experts in these areas, it can be a dangerous thing. And so I don't think we want to get too far away from thinking that facts are important.
Yeah, well, I like my whole thing we joke about on the show is we're facts over feelings. Not that you can't have feelings, Jim, because you can have feelings, but facts should actually matter. And in this day and age, I don't think they matter as much as people think. Talking to Jim Hogan, the book is called, it's the second edition, I'm Right and You're an Idiot, the Toxic State of Public Discord and How to Clean It Up. And, it's, again, as we talk about the fact that facts aren't as big as they used to be, we see public discord now getting to the point where we start at hitting below the belt. That's the first thing we do. I don't even know if we fight above the belt anymore. It just seems to be we start at below the belt and work our way down.
Yeah, and that to me is kind of the anti-fact area in public discourse, is when you start calling people names and just attacking their intentions and disrespecting them and not listening. And that is when you sort of move into this whole area of anger and hate and fear, and that's the world of propaganda. That's not the world of communication.
Totally. And, the way I do my show, and I've always done this, is I'm pretty much just like super open-minded. I've got some ideas that socially people say are rather liberal, and you're in the talk radio space. Oh, my God, Chad, how you do that, Jim? And the other side, I've got some other ideas that conservatives and the left freaks out about that. But, I try to paint both sides of the picture. I want people to be open-minded. And I find now, especially because of tribalism and because of the fact that we attack each other, that open-mindedness is like I am the minority, if you will, and a lot of other people out there we would think are the minority, but the fact is we're not. We go to our islands and our tribes, and that's it.
Yeah, I remember this one fellow I interviewed. He's a prof at Yale, philosophy prof, and he said, remember, you too could unknowingly be under the influence of bias, and you could be wrong, right? And I think we need to keep that in mind. I think sometimes we are wrong. We don't like to admit it, right? And that sort of digging in and being unwilling to give the other side a bit of ground is, I don't think, healthy.
No, it's complete. And again, you just said to not be able to say that I could be wrong, and you know this better than anybody, it's just completely unhealthy. Yes, you're not right. Like, I look at both parties politically, and I think neither party has a monopoly on good or bad ideas. I mean, and that's the sad thing, that both parties, I think that they have some moral high ground that they can stand on, and that's just not the truth. We have to be open-minded in the fact that we may not get everything right.
Yeah, I had a great experience during writing this book, where I was able to sit down with this monk who is a friend of Martin Luther King's. He's a Vietnamese monk. His name's Thich Nhat Hanh. And we were talking about the environment. And he was trying to say that environmentalists should meditate more, so they're less kind of hair on fire. And I said, you're not saying that, environmentalists shouldn't be activists, are you, and speak up on behalf of the environment? That seems like a good thing. And he looked at me and he said, speak the truth, but not to punish. And I remember thinking, whoa, that is so right on, that it's not just enough to be right about something. We got to punish the other guy for being wrong. And I think that means we're taking it too far.
Oh, God. And that right there is a perfect example of where we are, just not in politics, but in just everyday life. Is, when I was younger, and we're talking to Jim Hogan, who is the author of I'm Right and You're Wrong, and Idiots, and You're an Idiot, the Toxic State of Public Discourse and How to Clean It Up, is when I was a kid, younger, I'm 48 years old. I remember sometimes people get too big for your britches and you take them down a few notches, but you wanted to see them ground themselves and then rise again. Now we want to punish them forever. There is no forgiveness. You're done, dusted, and that is what we say about that. And I just find that to be so fascinating, because even when I talk to people about, climate change, do I believe that men, I think everything on earth contributes in some way, shape, or form to it. Do I think that there is some nefariousness out there as far as people would like to take climate change and use it for political aspirations? Oh, absolutely I do. But the minute you talk about anything other than you should do this, you get labeled something and punished.
Yeah, it's there was another moment in the interviews that I did where I got a chance to sit down with the Dalai Lama, and so at the end of this interview, we stood up and he reached over and put his finger on my forehead, and he said, we like to think the Western mind is more sophisticated, but in Tibet we go with the heart. And sometimes that's stronger. So maybe if we take the Western mind and the Tibetan heart together, we could be more successful. What we need is more compassion, more warm-heartedness. And I think that was a big lesson for me, that people need to feel respected and listened to. And I think that we need to be... I think it's important to stand up for what you believe is right, but at the same time, we should get better at trying to find common ground, because I think a lot of the time I think most of us agree, in democracies like the United States and Canada, even though we may be on the right or the left, that we agree actually on most things.
Yeah.
And so if we're focusing on the things that we fight over, then we're only seeing a smaller part of the picture.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And, it's funny because, like you said, I think I call us the exhaustive majority, the alt middle. We're the independents who there's more of us than the fringe dwellers who tend to get all of the press. And we do agree on far more than we disagree on. But for whatever reason, the loudest voices in the room continue to always get the press. And I think that's something that we need to remind people that that's not always the truth. And speaking of truth, one of the things you were talking about the Dalai Lama, of course, a couple of weeks ago, he was in a bit of hot water from the social justice warriors. And do you find, as you're researching these books, the social justice warriors, this younger generation where everything's about pronouns, and obviously you're from Canada, so you get Jordan Peterson up there who started the big, thing with the pronouns, this, that, and the other, that there's a certain sense of, an older generation isn't as sensitive as this newer generation?
Yeah, it's kind of, I'm older, so I find a lot of this stuff really difficult to kind of deal with, that you can never be perfect enough, right? And I think we have bigger problems than a lot of this language. When I was in law school, I had a girlfriend, and she was a fairly strong feminist, and boy, I'll tell you, she was like a language Gestapo. Nice person in a lot of ways, but it was hard. You got to watch what you're saying all the time, and after a while, you just get so kind of like jumpy around somebody like that it's kind of unpleasant. I think we have to be sensitive to other people and their situation, and be, like the Dalai Lama said, aware of how important it is to be compassionate towards people. But I think that works both ways. And I think, the kind of thought police stuff that you see going on, I'm a big free speech person. I think the more we talk about things, the better it is. And it doesn't matter whether you're right. If you're trying to shut somebody up and silence them, I don't think it's a good thing.
No, never. Never a good thing. And the book, again, is so very interesting. And I think we'll get there one day. And sometimes you need that jolt and that shock in the system, like with when you're trying to clean a pool or whatever, and you need to shock it. But I think we will get there, and we'll find our ground. But it is frustrating, and the book is really, really interesting. I advise everybody to go out and grab it. It is the second edition. I'm Right and You're an Idiot: The Toxic State of Public Discourse and How to Clean It Up. Appreciate you coming on today, Jim. Thanks so very much.
Thanks for having me. Bye-bye. Thank
you. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You tweet at us. And again, the thing is, what I like about that is You're an Idiot, is that is so how we are right now. It's like, you look at what's going on and the battle that's happening right now with Trump's tweet and this, that, and the other, and all of this stuff, and everybody's, one side standing up for Trump kind of, but the other side standing up for Ilhan Omar. I'm standing out here looking and saying both of you guys have some issues. And both of you have, what Trump did and tweeted wasn't a fan of. In saying that, you're looking over there at Ilhan Omar, and I don't think you're a huge fan of the United States. I think you do have problems with certain things. You're that girlfriend that's trying to change the guy. But you can't say that, and you can't look at Trump and say that without people attacking you, because everybody wants to be right all the time. Can't have it. And you should be able to have a conversation. Just because I didn't like what you said doesn't mean I think you're the worst person on earth. But that's the way people take it now. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say what?
It took gator expert Frank Robb just hours to hunt down the alligator that had been living in a lagoon at a park on Chicago's west side for about a week.
We ended up catching the animal again last night about 1:30 a.m. on the north side of the island there behind you. Vocalized, saw his eyes shine, and caught him on the fishing rod, and it went down pretty fast once we finally saw him.
The gator, dubbed Chance the Snapper, is 5 feet 3 inches long, about 30 to 40 pounds. It's unclear where the gator goes now, but officials say it is healthy.
Good. He's okay, right? Somebody bought something, thought, hey, I'm moving from one state to another, take it with me. Over years, it's gotten bigger. They thought it'd be funny. Well, I don't want to kill it, or I don't want to give it away, and I probably shouldn't have it, so I'm just going to sneakily let it out. And they did, and he's caught. That's good. He'll be at a zoo or somewhere like that. They'll contact the local, a lot of big reptile stores have USDA clearance where they're allowed to have certain animals, and he'll go there and he'll have a good life. And, he's a youngster, so that's good. He's tiny again. He's only like 5 feet, like 30, 40 pounds. It's not like this. They think that these man-eaters are just massive. No. Speaking of gators, man, I'm going to tell you guys this right now, people. You need to stop flushing your drugs down the toilet, because when you do, it ain't good, because we're getting all these gators out here in certain parts of Tennessee, Loretto to be exact. We're calling them meth gators. All right. They went all Breaking Bad on us, and they're all angry, and they're out biting everybody, and they're knocking over liquor stores, and they're robbing people's houses, and we just cannot have that going on. That's true. It's a Facebook post. So it's the Loretto Police Department wrote on Saturday, officers executed a warrant on a home and discovered the occupant trying to flush meth and drug paraphernalia down his toilet. Folks, please don't flush your drugs, okay? The sewer guys take great pride in releasing water that is cleaner than just what is in the creek. And some of this stuff is getting out there, and it's hurting the animals, but it's making certain creatures potentially more aggressive because they're high and they're coming off stuff and they're angry. And you don't want that. You do not want that. You don't want an angry, crazy gator. You just don't. I'm telling you guys right now, you just don't want that. Say what?
Tell me more, but at the same time says, I know better than you do. The forward head tilt. Picture someone with a blank expression lowering the chin but continuing to look straight ahead, almost like they're looking through their own eyebrows. Researchers at the University of British Columbia say that simple head tilt changes the way the face is perceived. It appears more dominant, something they attribute to the lowered and now V-shaped eyebrows. Their findings, published in the journal Psychological Science, say this head tilt is intimidating. What will you do with this information? Use it wisely.
So if you want to look intimidating, a little forward, right? Bring the eyebrows kind of down a little bit in the center. Get them up, out towards the sides. Kind of cock your head a little bit, and boom. It's out. You will look intimidating. If you want to look intimidating. And some people do, right? Some people, mad dogging. That's what it's all about. Sometimes you need to mad dog some people, and that's what you do. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter if you haven't heard.
Yeas are 240. The nays are 187. The resolution is adopted.
They have condemned Trump's words based on the tweets the other day. And so they've condemned him, which means nothing. It's non-binding resolution. And then supposedly Al Green, not the singer, but the congressman from, I believe it's Houston, has introduced articles of impeachment. So I don't think that's happening anytime soon, but we'll see what Nancy does with that. But the battle can begin. Good times. Let's go back to meth gators. They seemed interesting. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Text the program. Check out the Instagram. TheChadShow.com has a brand new website. If you've not been there, check it out and grab your podcast there as well. And go to the Facebook page. We're doing a lot more video. A lot of stuff's coming up. Exciting times, kids. Exciting times. Oh, my Lord. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Women be complaining.
Well, they're very unhappy. I'm watching them. All they do is complain. Never happy. I see them complaining. They're complaining constantly. Very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay, too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
Oh! Racist SOB. I'll say this, right? We've all been there, right? Where we've been in a relationship, we've been at a work. How many of you have been at a place of work where the person that's with you bitches constantly, right? The person you sit in the cube next to, the office next to, you go to lunch with them, their negativity is tremendous. If I ran this company, blah, 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 blah. If I did this, blah, 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 blah. This is what they should do. They don't know what they're doing. They're idiots. They're morons, blah, 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 blah. There's something to be said for that. Been in a relationship. He's wonderful. Now I'm just going to change everything about him. She's great, if only. Yeah, there's something to that. The way that, once again, Trump went about it was clumsy, but it's Trump. You know who he is, right? You understand what you get with Trump. And think about this. Nancy and everybody's had to come to people who aren't fans of the way AOC and them do their business, who aren't fans of where they want to take the party, have had to come to their defense, all the while in the middle of a fight. So that's also interesting. The reality is it means very little. Somebody said yesterday, oh, that's where you are, Chad? Really? How does this mean anything? I asked the person yesterday, he said, you're sitting on the fence. I said, no, did you think he was a racist before? I mean, yeah, so what's changed? Well, nothing. Okay, then. This just affirms it. So, but you already thought that. People on the right already think that Ilhan Omar and AOC are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? I will say this. Ilhan Omar, more than AOC, scares me with her beliefs. AOC is more a celebrity, which is she's in politics, but she loves the celebrity. Ilhan Omar, to me, is somebody who's in this in a much different way. She enjoys the celebrity that comes with it, but the politics of it all is what she really enjoys. And I do believe that she looks at America in a much different way than a lot of other people do. I think America is ever growing, ever breathing, and should always be trying to improve. But getting rid of our culture and bashing our culture is something I don't want to do. We do have a culture. You know, I was talking to somebody the other day who said to me, we don't have a culture, so we shouldn't even try to pretend. I said, yes, we do. We absolutely have a culture. A culture of liberties and freedoms. A culture where, guess what? It may not be the same distance, but you have the opportunity to get places that you're not going to find anywhere else. We do have a true culture in this country, and somewhere along the line, that is just gotten to the point where any culture that's not what everybody on one side wants it to be, which is a changing of it and damning it, is somehow that's the only way the culture that should be. You should hate the culture that we've had in the past, and you should embrace what they want to bring, because what they're going to bring is so much better. It's so much more inclusive. Is so much more not what got us here. Right? Not what got us here. I'm not saying we don't improve. I'm not saying we don't understand. I'm not saying we don't look to become a lot of different things. What I'm saying is we do have a culture. And when people get frustrated is when you tell them, no, we don't have a culture. This culture's bad. You can come here, you can do this, you can even slam this culture here, and oh, by the way, we'll support you and you keeping your culture and you doing you, and that is not what we need. Trump's tweets were ridiculous, asinine. I never call anybody a racist unless they want to be called a racist because they say they're a racist. I don't know. He says, I don't have a racist bone in my body. I don't know what's in his heart. I don't. It's easy to call people names, right? It's easy. Actions to me are the most important things. Actions to me are the most important things. What we have right now are two parties that are vying for power. I equate it to Lord of the Rings. My precious. That's what they want. And they're willing to do anything. They're willing to do anything. Many Republicans have somewhat sold their soul to for Trump, even though the reality is they're uber conservative and they look at Trump and they say, well, his actions, though, even though maybe not for him as a human being, his actions have at least given us opportunity for things like pro-life and stuff like that. But they've hitched their wagon to him. And on the other side, people look over and they're hitching their wagons to a lot of things, I got to be honest with you, that when I watch these panders get on stage and talk about free everything for everybody, I know in my heart there's probably a good majority of them that don't believe any of that. They're willing to sell their soul to get that ring. That's frustrating as hell. Because here we are, the exhausted majority, the 70, 80% of us who are sitting around and saying, you're clowns and you're clowns. You know what? But we don't have the microphone. We don't have the bully pulpit, and we need to take it back. And remember, it's so funny when we talk about these things because, remember, when it comes to power, when it comes to certain things, we will switch fast if it benefits us.
I don't know why you like this guy. I think what you like about him, he appears to be strong when the rest of us are weak. He's a very successful businessman. He's going to make everything great. He's going to take all the problems of the world and put them in a box and make your life better. That's what he's selling. Here's what you're buying. He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot. He doesn't represent my party. He doesn't represent the values that the men and women who wear the uniform are fighting for.
That's, for those of you who don't know, that's Lindsey Graham talking about Donald Trump. That's Lindsey Graham talking about Donald. Here's also Lindsey Graham talking about Donald Trump and others.
We all know that AOC and this crowd are a bunch of communists. They hate Israel. They hate our own country. They're calling the guards along our border, the Border Patrol agents, concentration camp guards. They accuse people who support Israel of doing it for the Benjamins. They're anti-Semitic. They're anti-America. Don't get down. Aim higher.
Yeah. People will switch. Where's the power at? That's the reality of it. I look at somebody like Ilhan Omar and I say, she believes all the things. I don't think a lot of politicians do. I think most politicians are somewhat centered to the right or to the left. They're willing to work with each other. She buys into a lot. I think AOC, to be honest with you, I think she enjoys I think the politicking is the thing she least enjoys. Unless there's a camera on her. She's a celebrity. And she's enjoying the hell out of it. Either way, both parties play us, and what they want is that power. That's what they strive for. That is their ring. That is their precious. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. I do love hearing from you. So news today out of the Department of Justice about something that happened 5 years ago. And tomorrow there will be, well, there's going to be protests everywhere. And the news, if you're Eric Garner and his family, isn't what you were looking for.
Eric Garner was 43 when he died in police custody 5 years ago Wednesday, the same day the Justice Department faced a decision to file federal charges. The decision not to prosecute the officer primarily involved, Daniel Pantaleo, means no one will be charged with a crime, as Garner's family had hoped. The case divided the Justice Department, with the Attorney General at the time of Garner's death, Eric Holder, wanting to move forward with federal civil rights charges, but prosecutors here in Brooklyn unsure they could convict.
Yeah, and if you remember this, he was selling, what are those things? He was selling, what, Lucy's? Selfies? Lucy's. Those cigarettes. People, because it's so expensive, some people can't afford a whole pack, or they only want one or two. So he was selling Lucy's. The cops confronted him. He was a bigger man. Let's be real, he wasn't in the prime shape of the world. There was a scuffle that ensued that became a fight. There was a chokehold, and eventually he succumbed to a cardiac arrest. And did it have to go that far? What took place there? Was it over the line? And this is one of those things where it pits. It's the perfect way of pitting us versus them. Police versus the African American community. Was it right? Was it wrong? Did they have a right to do what they did? Of course, you're going to get the same old saying from just about everybody out there.
The day before the anniversary of this pain that they've had to suffer, a day after his mother and his son and us went to his gravesite to be smacked in the face by this decision.
And there'll be calls for racism and several other things, but and like I try to tell people, in life, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. Could you get proof enough to show enough what took place? and that there was malice, and that he was, I mean, could you do that? Could you convict, if you will? And they said, no, I don't think we could. I don't think we can get what we think we can get out of this. And because of that, they moved on, and now the debate will again begin, because we live in I read an article today, a new poll talking about how people think, since Trump, and it's once again shows the tribalism split down the middle. Since Trump has become president, 78% of Democrats believe that things have gotten worse with race relations, and about 80% of Republicans think that things have gotten better. It's the R and the D. We're not talking about race. We're talking about different ideology in the R and the D. And that's a lot of what that is.
Doctors at the Cleveland Clinic say cold brew does not have as many antioxidants than coffee that is brewed with hot water, about 50% less. Antioxidants help cut down on the risk of some diseases. The doctors say opt for iced coffee if you like it cold. And if you load your coffee with cream and sugar, you're likely wiping out the health benefits. The healthiest way is to have it black.
Yeah, no, I don't drink coffee, but I know a lot of people do. And I don't know how many people out there drink black coffee, just straight black, especially nowadays with all of the choices. You got so many damn choices. Now, in saying that, I drink iced tea all day. That's my thing. My jam is iced tea and light lemonade. And I take my iced tea with a little bit of like some Sweet and Low, or sometimes I have some of that like stevia stuff. But outside of that, that's about it. And I drink water. It's weird. It's got no taste to it. It's just water. The elixir of life, kids. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. Candid, your teeth are important. As you get older, they start to move. They're not as white. I think we all know that, right? As you get older, you've eaten, you've drank coffee, tea, soda, whatever it is, not as white as they used to be. That sparkling smile went from an A back down to a B- or a C, or maybe it's always been an F, and you're thinking to yourself, I'm at the point in my life where I can do something about it. Don't look any further than Candid. Candid's amazing. They've got orthodontists who are licensed in your state. They're going to create a treatment plan for you. Then they're going to get you a 3D preview of what your final results are going to look like. And it is truly incredible. It is so amazing. Once they get you the 3D preview, they're going to then create custom clear aligners. They're going to be sent directly to you. So you're never going to have to go to an orthodontist office. And here's the other great thing. Less than 6 months, right around there, is when you're going to get a straighter, brighter, whiter smile. And it's 65% less than braces. So you're going to be saving thousands with a better, cleaner, whiter smile. Now is your chance. Jump on it right now. Check it out. Great discount for my listeners. Go to candidco.com/Benson, candidco.com/Benson, candidco.com/Benson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
It seems a lot of kids aren't paying attention to First Lady Melania Trump's Be Best initiative. According to a new report from the National Center for Education Statistics, 20% of students between the ages of 12 and 18 were picked on during the 2016-17 school year. And 15% of those teens say the bullying took place online. That's a 3.5% jump from 2 years earlier. Researchers say most bullying does still happen in person, but those who do it online may be more prone to it because they don't have to face the other person or face the immediate consequences.
That's the big thing right there, is you don't have to face the immediate consequences of potentially getting smacked in the mouth. Right? Like that's there's something to that, to being anonymous and being able to say something awful and horrible to somebody without the worry of them coming back and saying anything. You could block them. You could do all kinds of things. Now, we also live in a time, too, where bullying takes on many forms. I mean, you can express your views, right? You could be James Damore, right, from, was it Google or whatever, who pushed science and truth out there in data, and he was bullied from his job and fired because of the social justice-ness of it all. It's not just you're a jerk or you're horrible or you're fat or you're this, that, and the others. There's many ways to bully. And the adult way has become a lot different. right? It's a more subtle way at times where, everybody piles on and tries to get you fired, tries to get you this, that, and the other. Bullying it's real, I look at this like with Trump. Is he a bully? Absolutely. He is. But he's also a lot of times fighting other people that bully as well. So you sit back and you go, do I care that, Godzilla and King Kong are fighting? Nah, not always. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Tech giants are on Capitol Hill today, also testifying, talking. Let me tell you about data, and we touched on this a bit last week. Your data is so vital that you have no idea how vital it is, how important it is, and how much people want that data. Last year, data, as far as an industry, passed fossil fuels as far as money. Think about that for a second. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Pledge of Allegiance. There's a kerfuffle. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Unfortunately, the Republican Party of the United States, this party of Abraham Lincoln, Theodore Roosevelt, Ronald Reagan, George Herbert Walker Bush, is surrendering its soul to Donald Trump. To think that this president can make the kind of racist, reprehensible statements he's made without a reaction from Republicans is a sad day in the history of this party.
Dick Durbin, right there. A little bit truth there. Not going to lie to you. But on the other side, you could say you guys have sold your soul to nothing but pandering and giveaways, and you've allowed yourselves to be influenced in such a way, especially through academia, that you feel that you must become this party that, you know what, this isn't a party of JFK. Ronald Reagan said something. I didn't leave the Democratic Party. They left me. And I think a lot could be said about both parties right now. I was joking around last night. I'm a Ronin. If you don't know what a Ronin is, that is a samurai who essentially no longer has his master, right? That they're dead or they've gone. And that's kind of what I feel like. It's like I look around and I'm like, I don't recognize these parties as anything more than super special interest and panderers. And I know there's good people in there who and even some of them who've come out and play the game of politics in front of the world, that they're decent. And I'm talking about both parties. But a lot of them anymore, it's this, you got 20 people on stage. Who wants to give free stuff to everybody? Raise your hands. You got Trump tweeting out stuff that's just, it's beneath the office. Because they want the power so much. It's not a winning formula. I don't know how many times I have to say it's not a winning formula for the American people. It may win for them, but for us, no, it's not good. And both sides are just as divisive towards one another, and both sides play to their bases in ways that, they accuse each other of doing. It's ridiculous. It is. I read it. There's a new poll out that was released on Axios, and it's a Democratic poll. It's a perfect thing because as the battle goes on right now, there's a miniature civil war where you've got Nancy Pelosi is going after AOC and them and talking about, their Twitter following and look, a glass of water could have got elected if, in the district that she's in and all of these things. And she comes out and says, look, Pelosi's going after women of color. Is she racist? No. And then, well, Trump's racist. And so away you head. But AOC and Ilhan Omar in this poll, centrist Democrats and independents want no part. They've got a worse score than even Trump does. Because they don't feel comfortable with where they want to take the party. The battle's there. And there's a battle in the parties for power because everybody's chasing my precious. And when you get the lunacy that we have, and we have lunacy, there's a great article in Reason talking about trigger warnings. We've talked about it forever. If you don't know what a trigger warning is, if you're watching television, some of the stuff may not be suitable for blah, 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 blah. Well, now they have those in colleges, right? Hey, somebody's coming to the campus to speak, right? Like Steven Crowder's coming to the campus, or Milo Yiannopoulos, or Ann Coulter. So you have to have trigger warnings everywhere, and there have to be safe spaces. And now even people that are professors have to have trigger warnings for kids that, hey, we're going to be talking about stuff that may make you feel uncomfortable. So it gives people opportunity to gather themselves. And what they're saying is that's actually, in some cases, making it worse because then people start freaking out. Things go through their mind. It's nuts. It's not who we are as a country, but we've become this. And the centrist Democrats, they don't want that. The average Democrat is a union voting Democrat in the middle of the country, right? That's what the average Democrat is. It's not Berkeley. It's not Austin. It's not Manhattan. They'd like to think that that's what everything is. But no, there's a good swath of this country that's just getting up. You know what? They're pro-choice. They're going to church. They're also a believer of the Second Amendment, and but they're union. That's the kind of feel that's out there. There's a steelworker kind of thing, and they look at stuff like this and they shake their heads with all this wacky craziness. Case in point, it's a perfect example from Minnesota, which is Ilhan Omar's state. Is the Pledge of Allegiance now a bad thing?
Allegiance is back on in St. Louis Park. Tonight, the City Council voted unanimously to reinstate the pledge at its meetings.
Now, this decision follows national backlash that even attracted the president's attention. Brett Hoffman was there for tonight's vote, Brett.
Paul, the pledge debate wasn't even on the agenda for tonight, but that didn't stop a few hundred people from cramming into City Hall to share their opinion on the issue, many coming from all over the state and, of course, in St. Louis Park.
Yeah. So you've got all these people who are pissed, and they're showing up, and they're angry because we're getting rid of the Pledge of Allegiance, and they want to have their voice heard. And this wasn't what this whole thing was about. This is just supposed to be a regular meeting having nothing to do with this, but they're showing up.
I want to make sure that our traditions continue to be recognized because this is a great country. Our pledge needs to be set.
I think they're just really trying to think that we're going to go away and ignore it, but we're not.
I agree with the council in that the pledge should not be said before meetings because it might ostracize some people.
Who's it going to ostracize? Let me ask you that. Who's it going to ostracize? UCI tried it first about 18 months ago. I'm telling you guys right now, mark my words, the American flag is next. It's coming. It's next. There will be a challenge. There's going to be people in college campuses that are going to come after it. It is going to be next. It ostracizes people. Wait a minute. But this is the issue here is you only need one person or two people to say, I feel uncomfortable, to say, now we have to change everything. Right? When I was a kid growing up, if somebody was allergic to peanuts, Jimmy sat in the corner at lunch. We didn't say, everybody, you can't have peanuts anymore. There's no more peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Now it's like, well, no, he can run the school if he wants to make the menu out for all the things he wants. He's also gluten-free, so he can do whatever he wants. That's the frustration that people have. You look after poll after poll after poll when it comes to the PC side of things. And there's a difference between being aware and having respect for somebody. Right? They want to be called they or them. What was it, Phil? Z? Zed? What do they want to be called?
Z.
Z? Z? They want to be called Z? All right, whatever. Fine. I have respect enough for you that I will do that. You whatever pronoun that you want me to call you, there you go. But the difference is people trying to be forced into doing things frustrates them. And the average person looks at this and says, okay, wait a minute. I may not like Donald Trump or Barack Obama or whoever, but at some point in time, these kind of things make you step back and go, oh, maybe there's something to what Trump says. Maybe there's something to some of this craziness. Maybe the messenger you may not like, but maybe the reality is the message, it might be real.
So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that passes unanimously.
Now, ultimately, the council felt like they needed to make a decision. The Pledge of Allegiance will be recited at twice-monthly council meetings. Last month, they voted to eliminate this because some agreed it was an issue of diversity and wanting to make sure that everyone felt welcome.
Yeah, but what's the non-diversity here that people are feeling? Well, there's no diversity. I'm not welcome. We're saying the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country. That doesn't. Why don't you feel? Well, Chad, you got to understand. What if you're from a different country? I lived in a different country on and off for a decade. I respected everything about that country. I would never, ever say, I felt unwelcome. You need to change this. This is the stuff that makes people dig in harder behind Trump because they feel like these people are insane. They're insane. And it is coming. I am telling you right this second. It is coming. The challenge to the flag and how bad it is, how evil it is, how racist it is coming. Be prepared. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. It's a horrible story out of New York, but it shows the weirdness of the online world. And as we've talked about the craziness of online world and everybody wanting to get their viral videos and their 5 minutes of fame and the lunacy. And this has been trending the last couple days, and it also shows you kind of how sick we are and how we're into the morbid.
17-year-old Bianca Devins of Utica was found dead in a wooded area at the end of the street. When police arrived on the scene, the suspect, Brandon Andrew Clark of Cicero, laying on top of the tarp covering the body.
As the officer approached, the male attempted to take his own life by cutting his throat. At that point, the officer engaged the male in conversation while holding him at gunpoint. Other officers arrived on the scene, ultimately disarming the male and taking him into custody.
Yeah, so couples dating, they go to a concert, something happens. He tries to kill himself after he's killed her, and he's killed her violently. But he's also taken pictures, including selfies, of her dead body with him on top.
Clark posted graphic pictures of Bianca on his Instagram page following the murder. Pictures that police are now saying are authentic.
We are working with the family. We are working with the social media outlets to take down as many of these photos as we can.
The hell is wrong with people? What in God's name? He's been charged with second-degree murder. But they said he literally took selfies. It's already been shared and been out there. And who's sharing this? That's the other thing. When I hear that people are sharing stuff like this, my question is, what in God's name are you doing? You're not sharing good news. You're sharing a 17-year-old who's almost had her head lopped off. And they struggle to get a hold of it. I mean, if you go and see that they're still trying to figure out how to get all that stuff from the New Zealand shooting down. They're still struggling. It's not all down yet. People are just, because once it gets out there, it will live forever. And then we help it live forever. We give it life. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. You can text the show. You can also get us on Instagram. Well, you will see none of this stuff because I'm not insane and this is vile. Could even just. I was thinking, would OJ have done this? Like, is that where we are? It's like, are people so obsessed with some sort of weird viral immortality that they're willing to do stuff like this? I think the answer must be yes. It must be. Hey, 2019, right here, rocking and rolling. There's so many things that you could choose from out there, and you look around and you're like, what do I need? I want some cool earbuds. I don't want to spend a ton of money, but I want something that is as good as all of those quote-unquote other things. You've got a choice now. It's called Raycon. And Raycon was founded by musician and entrepreneur Ray J. And what it does is has the use of true wireless audio technology, which is awesome. Mine are incredible. Plus, they're hip and cool. They're beautiful, comfortable design. And one thing I like is I don't even like my headphones when I'm on the radio very loud. I like my stuff very quiet. It's so comfortable, doesn't hurt my ears. It's amazing. And they start at half the price of other premium wireless earbuds on the market. Unlike some other wireless options, they're stylish, they're discreet, they've got no stems or dangling wires, and they look and sound amazing. It's incredible. Right now, you're thinking to yourself, I've been looking at a pair. Here's your chance. You're going to get 15% off. It's simple and easy. Check it out for yourself. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. You can save yourself 15%. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. You will not be disappointed. Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show, where we make no apologies, although we do say a few Hail Marys and Our Fathers now and then. Amen.
This is a president who has said, grab women by the This is a president who has called black people who come from black and brown countries shitholes. This is the agenda of white nationalists. It's time for us to impeach this president.
First of all, he didn't call those people that. He called those places that. In reality, those places kind of are. Some of those places are exactly that. Chad, are we not, like, have you never gone to your friend's house and, like, I had a friend growing up whose house was awful. Like hoarders, like vile, like disgusting vile. Like you could not believe. Like make you sick, vomit, even think of him out makes me sick. It was an S-hole. Didn't mean that they were wonderful people. We were absolutely amazing people, still are. But the way they lived was gross. So while Trump has said a lot of things that are awful and horrible, especially again in this woke world, all of us have, he has gone extra far to put a little extra on it in many occasions, and there's no excuse for it. And he needs to learn at times. Go ahead and impeach him. Do it. He's wanting you to do it. He's absolutely wanting you to do it. I'm going to give you guys, you Democrats out there, who are really hoping you're going to beat Trump. You may not. Economy stays good. We're better the devil you do and the devil you don't. And the further left you go, the further that you, let me tell you something, they may hold their nose and have a disdain for him. But the last thing they want to do is turn over the economy to people who want to give everything in the world away to everyone. And political correctness. Because if you go after poll after poll after poll, Democrats are over political correctness and ridiculousness. And the last thing they want is thought police running our country. That is the reality of it. If you really want to beat Trump, let Trump be Trump. Beat Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell has done more to thwart the Democrats than Trump ever has or ever will. Trump trolls them. Trump pisses them off. Trump is the head of the snake. But the reality is the heart and the soul in many ways is Mitch McConnell. You beat him, which you probably won't. But if you could beat him, you change a lot of things. But if you don't beat him, even if you win the White House, that heart and soul is still going to be there, and you're going to struggle. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Yesterday, the Tax the Rich bus rolled through here. And the person leading the Tax the Rich. I just find it so weird that we have a bus rolling through the country saying tax the rich. I find that so bizarre. Like, tax these people more, which I don't care what you tax them because they're not going to pay it. Tax them 100%. They're not going to pay it. They'll figure it out. But the one thing I did like is that, we want to change some of the loopholes. We want to change some of the things that are inside the tax code, which if you're serious about that, that's what you have to do. More often than not, people aren't. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Your useless fact of the day. Powdered wigs were popular way back in the day, not because they were a fashion statement. It's because lice and so many nastiness was out there that many people shaved their heads, so powdered wigs were the way to go, only to find out that they were just as gross. It wasn't because it was a fashion statement, if you will. It was because they were gross in a non-hygienic time. Have a great rest of your day. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.